Kumul Petroleum Holdings guarantees live football matches. Chinese flight bound for PNG halted. And Japan's foreign minister strengthens bilateral talks.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Friday's news. The Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited National Soccer League will now be brought to homes nationwide as football seeks to expand across the country. In a significant moment for the PNG Football Association, a broadcast contract was signed today that will see coverage of the KPAGL National Soccer League. And with the new normal in place, viewers can stay in the comfort of their homes to enjoy the games. Jeremy Mogi reports.
The partnership between the PNG Football Association and PNG's #1 broadcaster will see live matches on both television and online via streaming across Papua New Guinea, the Pacific region and the world. It's a first for PNG sport coverage to have a simulcast of matches across different platforms. President of the PNG Football Association, John Capinato, along with EMTV CEO Sheena Hughes and NSL Chairman Benny Popoitoi, excited at the broadcast opportunity.
We are so glad and happy that once again our partner, Kumul Petroleum Holdings, have come on board in ensuring that our beautiful game will be brought to our fans and supporters that are around the country towards the game.
EMTV's partnership and step up as a premium sport broadcaster has been a work in progress, and that initially began with the 2014 PNG Games before culminating in the 2019 Pacific Games coverage. And with the new normal procedures in place, EMTV CEO Sheena Hughes says this also allows for Papua New Guineans to enjoy their sports safely.
And whereby we encourage sporting. This is a good way forward to actually show people that we can have tournaments that can still go ahead in the country and also be viewable on television as well as the online platform.
Broadcasting and the additional opportunities to simulcast play online allows, according to PNGFA Caretaker Administrator Dan Kakaraya, additional marketing and revenue generation opportunities.
The agreement captures the rights, the football rights that is owned by PNGFA through NSL is now being commercialized. So that is why this agreement is a milestone, and one of football PNGFA's pillars is to generate revenue.
The broadcast commences with coverage of 3 matches from the PNG Football Stadium that begins at 11 a.m. NSL Chairman Benny Popoitoi has said it's a much-needed partnership that allows for the growth of the sport.
With the sponsorship of Kumul Petroleum Holdings, it's timely that we are able to continue to make soccer a sport that can be able to unite all our stakeholders.
PNG Football Association President John Capinato, when thanking EMTV, Telecom PNG and Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited for their sponsorship, said the relationship between football and PNG's oldest broadcast station has been beneficial for all parties involved. The National Soccer League has just over a month of matches remaining, and the launch of the Women's NSL and an additional partnership is currently in talks. Jeremy Mogi, National TV News.
And we'll have more on the NSL live broadcast in Chukai Sports later in the bulletin. A Philippines airline flight from China was prevented from continuing its journey to PNG. The plane was attempting to bring in Chinese nationals who work at Ramu Nickel Mine. However, Pandemic Controller David Manning issued no entry orders. He gave directives after learning of the vaccine trial involving Chinese nationals working in projects in PNG. The flight was cancelled and the embassy was contacted to provide information on the vaccine trial that was reported in Australia. Meanwhile, the National Command Center has issued new measures restricting anyone within PNG to participate in any COVID-19 vaccine trials in the country.
On that flight, there was supposed to be employees of a certain mine that had been subjected to these vaccinations. In light of the lack of information of what these trials are and what possible risks or threats that it may cause our people if they were to come into the country, I had cancelled that flight yesterday. Just to ensure that we continue to act in the best interests of our people and our country. The measure number 12, if I could just read it, it says no COVID-19 vaccination or unapproved pharmaceutical intervention shall be provided to any person within Papua New Guinea. No vaccine testing or trials for COVID-19 shall occur within Papua New Guinea. A person who claims to have received the vaccine overseas must comply with the requirements contained in Measure 2 of international travel measures, including but not limited to the requirement of A, that a person must be quarantined upon arrival into Papua New Guinea, and B, a person must, prior to boarding a flight into PNG, must have been tested for COVID-19 within a 7-day period prior to boarding the aircraft.
The National Command Center has confirmed PNG's number of deaths from COVID-19 has risen to 4. A 72-year-old man tested positive for COVID-19 on the 12th of August and presented himself to Port Moresby General Hospital with severe acute respiratory illness. The 72-year-old man was later identified as having pre-existing conditions of diabetes and hypertension. He was a resident of Baroko and contact tracing has begun.
The test was reported on the 12th and the patient died on the 14th. We were waiting for the death certificate to confirm the death. So this is a case of a 72-year-old male who presented to the Accident Emergency Department of the Port Moresby General Hospital with symptoms of severe respiratory distress. And for information, severe respiratory distress is a common or a very severe symptom of patients who have COVID-19. He was tested positive on gene expert at the Port Moresby General Hospital. The patient also had a history of diabetes, hypertension. He was ventilated and intubated at the same time. Immediately when the test came out, the results was delayed to the NCDPHA and they started doing contact tracing. The patient lives around the Baroko area. Our doctors, we had a meeting this morning with the doctors at the Port Moresby General Hospital. We've also have given out guidelines and SOPs of how our health workers, the communities, but also the relatives deal with diseased bodies or diseased persons. So we are on to the case. Our doctors are handling that to make sure that the family and the relatives understand the death and how to deal with the body until burial.
And now to the current statistics on COVID-19 in the country. As of yesterday, the National Pandemic Response Control Center announced one new case. The case is from Port Moresby. This raises the country's total to 361 positive cases. Of the positive cases, 4 have died, 196 have recovered, and 159 active cases. So far, 14,439 persons have been tested. The Business Council of Papua New Guinea has presented a macroeconomic outlook for 2020 to 2023 ahead of the supplementary budget, which is expected when Parliament resumes next week. This comes at a time when the country is experiencing the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Dennis Orere with this report.
The Outlook report involves the risks associated, some scenarios, as well as some success stories coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. Rising commodity prices and decreasing consumption are two of the scenarios that the Outlook report highlights in terms of the mining, oil and gas sectors, as well as the COVID-19 pandemic. Sector focus in the fiscal stimulus package is another area of concern, so is the closure of the Porgera mine, resulting in the reduction of gold production.
Our focus in this modeling exercise is to integrate that risk into that larger external price risk of our extractives, and where does that sit in terms of the macroeconomy outlook.
The Outlook report projects that construction, agriculture and retail sectors of PNG will be key factors in sustaining the economy in the challenging times ahead. Supporting of small to medium enterprises will also be important, but the Business Council of PNG says it would be better for the government to target existing SMEs rather than startups.
If that fiscal stimulus is not actually connecting to sectors that will be the ideal drivers, so for example construction, retail, agriculture, if you don't have that level of targeting on the stimulus, then we'll continue to see a drag in offsetting the decrease in consumption.
The Business Council of Papua New Guinea's assessment on the country's macroeconomic outlook for the next 3 years shows that Papua New Guinea's GDP growth will continue to decline in the year 2020, but will slowly come back in mid-2021. Dennis Orere, National EMTV News.
A statement of intent has been signed with the Japanese government to strengthen bilateral relations and trade partnership between the two countries. This partnership will see the country exporting products to Japan and will also provide avenues for Japanese investments in PNG. Japan's Minister for Foreign Affairs, who arrived in the country yesterday, signed the instruments with Prime Minister James Marape today.
The Japanese Foreign Affairs Minister Toshimitsu Motegi's visit also includes a series of bilateral meetings with various government ministers. The discussion centered on trade relations and economic issues such as the LNG project and the 9th Pacific Island Leaders Meeting with Japan. Measures aimed at an early recovery of the country's economy from the effects of COVID-19, including recovery of the remains of war, were also discussed.
Most of our discussions were centered around trade and trade relationship. It was little about assistance. We don't want to be seen as begging for assistance all over the world. We want to grow our own economy, and we were telling him, whilst you assist us in this time, we want to sell our produces to you. So that was mutual. And
the relationship between the two countries dates back to the Second World War. Over the years, the Japanese government has played an integral part in the country's development. Some of their recent investment includes the Najab Airport redevelopment program, Alata Fish Market, including investment in the education sector. Prime Minister James Marape says it is important to maintain such relationship.
The aggregate of their investment in our country, whether it's grant or investment in programs, or investment as soft loan has totaled thus far, aggregated over 4 billion kina over the last 45 years. And so it is nice to maintain a relationship with a trusted partner that has long history with us.
The signing of the statement of intent this morning now paves way for the country to export its products to Japanese markets. This also provides an avenue for more Japanese investment in various economic zones in the country. Marape also adding that the government is also subsidizing commodity prices to help the farmers.
Don't laze back. Government is finding the market for you in as far as what we can produce. That's why we're subsidizing coffee price to ensure that growers getting good coffee price, cocoa growers getting good cocoa prices, copra growers getting good copra prices.
The Japanese foreign minister arrived yesterday with his delegations of 8 senior officials. The minister leaves the country this afternoon and will be visiting 3 other countries in the Southeast Asia region. The Prime Minister further acknowledged the visit, saying it means a lot in this time of COVID-19 pandemic.
The foreign minister to deliberately choose to visit PNG at this COVID-sensitive time goes to show in a long way our two relationships, but more importantly, the value they place in the PNG-Japanese relationship.
Rayon Lakingu, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. Still ahead, a judge warned policemen to be professional when dealing with suspects in the cocaine case, and public in Lae raised concerns on prisoners' welfare. Those stories and more when we come back. Welcome back. Police officers were cautioned to do their jobs professionally when investigating the alleged involvement of 3 Papua New Guinean men attempting to smuggle cocaine to Australia. Acting Judge Justice Paul Tussais made these strong comments while reserving a decision on the bail application for Dominic Telauki and Morgan Mogu this morning.
Appearing from police custody, 36-year-old Dominic Telauki showed up with a bruised arm alongside his co-accused Morgan Mogu from About District. The National Court in Port Moresby was supposed to have handed down a decision on their application for bail today. However, the acting judge was not ready with a decision and reserved the matter to next Monday afternoon. Instead, Acting Justice Tussais told police officers working in the Transnational Crime Unit, who escorted the accused to court today, to use their heads and not muscles when conducting investigations. The court made this statement after receiving reports of harassment and physical abuse inflicted on the 3 accused. Acting Justice Tussais told police officers that their hard work of collecting evidence may be tainted and not admissible in court if they continue to assault accused in such a serious crime involving drug smuggling. All 3 accused were charged for their alleged involvement in attempts to smuggle cocaine into the Australian market in July. The committal proceedings commenced on the 11th of August when they appeared for arraignment before the Waigani Committal Court. Their next mention will be on the 25th of August. Meanwhile, the 3 have been remanded at the Bomana Immigration Centre. Thaklagunga, National EMTV News.
The public in Lae want the courts and police prosecution to fast-track cases of inmates at Lae's Buimo prison. This follows the escape of 47 prisoners on the weekend, 11 of whom were shot dead during the escape. Since 2016, 45 prisoners have been killed by police and CS officers during attempts to escape. Lae resident Micah Yande said despite their status as prisoners, all inmates have human rights that must and should be respected.
This group of youth today came forward and condemned the killing of the 11 prisoners that were shot dead after prison escape at Lae's Buimo prison last week Friday. Samson Jack, a juvenile detainee in 2009, said the delay in prosecution and court hearings is one of the reasons why prisoners escape.
10 to 8, 11 years. Oman Pilimpen. Okarabista sa lugo gimol freedom one side staff. Okay, what the run away, wait coach. So now machine is lona. Gim sambla sort medan number.
Those inmates waiting for their court case haven't proven guilty, but they kept them in for too long. That's why the longer they wait, they get frustrated, so they go to organize themselves and somehow go to escape.
Other members of the public in Lae said, despite their status as prisoners, all inmates have human rights that must and should be respected. According to Lae's Metropolitan Commander Chris Kunyanban, 47 prisoners broke out of the Lae's Buimo prison last week Friday. 10 of the escapees were convicted prisoners, while 37 are remandees waiting for the court hearings and trials. 11 were shot dead after the prison escape, 1 was recaptured, and 34 are still at large.
Most of the time, we say, "My man, marry you, may kill him." Might also you reach him up low blown heaven, now low blown ground 2 1 10.
Government time putting gun, man come no carry gun, no carry one weapon against you. So you surrender him, and you break leg them, or you shoot him, remember pronounce so because you are big law, so ember, so shame, low and round him in the stab.
Over the years, there have been frequent prison breakouts at Buimo prison.
45 prisoners have been shot dead by police and CS officers during their attempts to escape since 2016. Some of the issues of concern at Lace Bumo Prison still not being addressed by the CS department include the perimeter fencing, new building to ease overcrowding, and parole for prisoners serving 1/3 of their sentence. Julie Badui, OA, National EMTV News, Leh.
The National Housing Corporation has demanded an apology from EMTV regarding a report on a family eviction in Leh aired on the 19th of August. The story involved a property which was formerly owned by the NHC and is now being fought over by two family members who have separate titles. While the NHC vouches for the title possessed by the deceased owner's sister, the evicted family also has a title listed under the deceased owner's adopted daughter.
In the letter signed by NHC's Acting Managing Director Elizabeth Bowada, the NHC denied any wrongdoing in the transfer of the property described as Section 36 Allotment 13 at Eriko in Leh. She said the house is a private property belonging to a Miss Claire Joey and the eviction is therefore a private business. The documents provided by the NHC show that the title was transferred to Claire Joey earlier this year. However, the evicted family also provided a title transferred to the deceased owner's adopted daughter, Tanya Joey, in 2017. In MTV's report aired on the 18th of August, Tanya Joey was forcefully taken from her home, witnessed by her children and relatives based on fraud allegations, and was later released on court bail. On Wednesday the 19th, we ran another story highlighting that the property was being fought over because the two family members have titles to the same property.
She will appear before the court, but it's for a matter of a court to decide who is the genuine owner.
Although MTV did not mention any involvement of NHC officers in this particular eviction, the NHC management demanded an apology regarding this story. Lucy Kopana, National MTV News, Leh.
And MTV is currently preparing a formal response to the apology demanded by the National Housing Corporation. Job losses and laying off workers during the COVID-19 pandemic crisis in Papua New Guinea has been a huge concern for individuals and families. The opening of a new service station at Hohola in Port Moresby yesterday provides an opportunity for job creation. The Mineral Resources Development Company and its subsidiaries announced the opening of the new service station. MRDC Managing Director Augustin Mano said this investment is a testament of creating opportunities for their beneficiaries to maximize their participation in the energy supply value chain, which includes retail fuel supply and distribution. The Mobile Star Mountain service station is a flagship facility consisting of 4 fuel bowsers, a food mart, banking facilities and ample parking space for customers. And now looking at the NASFund market report, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.287 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina is buying $0.2795 $0.3842 Australian dollars, $0.2274 euro and 28.90 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee, cocoa and copra closed higher. Crude oil is trading higher, palm oil and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 46.85 points higher. The ASX 200 is trading at 8.42 points lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 0.98 points lower. National EMTV News continues with more after these messages. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. One of East New Britain's oldest secondary schools has finally got assistance from the government after years of neglect. The Kembubu Secondary School in the Sinivit LLG of Pomio District got a funding assistance of 600,000 kina from the Pomio District Administration to upgrade accommodation facilities for its students. Pomio MP Elias Kapavore, who visited the school earlier this week, says the district will continue supporting the institution that has contributed to the human resource of the province for over 85 years. Kapavore says over the years the school hasn't gotten much attention from successive governments in return for its contribution. He says the funding support is the first of many assistance to come from the district. Kembubu Secondary School remained as one of the oldest learning institutions in the country, established by early SDA missionaries in 1937. Leaders in communities who will be impacted by the Wafi-Golpu mine are planning to investigate other options and suggest other methods besides the proposed deep-sea tailing disposal. They discussed today at a forum to propose safer alternatives to the company and the government for consideration.
Community leaders, agencies and a representative from the Morobe provincial government attended a forum today to discuss how to address the concerns related to deep-sea tailing disposal. They agreed from discussions to push for other alternatives besides the proposed DSTP method. The Provincial Environment Minister Judas Nalu said they are not against the mine's development, however, want safer tailing disposal methods to be used.
I'm understanding them big man with looking and using technology, the latest technology, like extracting just like gold. Use the same latest technology to dispose of waste.
The move of these leaders to propose other alternatives is based on uncertainties surrounding DSTP, fearing a similar outcome as the spillage into the Medeng Seas, affecting the people of Basamuk and surrounding communities in Medeng.
Sit down and scare him over so over the man blown like maybe by 1 or 3 days workshop, maybe I start him, now by present him alternative equal government or some. You talk this matter, so independent assessment plan or one or someone blow by and make a road this type of them. Because over the time and you mix him long outside the Gamna, you meet Bagaranta country when the over mining operations about 10 or 9 mining activities inside the country.
The call to stop the proposed deep-sea tailing in Morobe is growing among people and communities through awareness led by the Lutheran Church. The head of Morobe Province, Ginsen Saunu, has also expressed disagreement against the proposal. Charlene Airy, National EMTV News, Lay.
Governor General Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai and Lady Emmeline Folau were given a traditional welcome in Jiwaka Province yesterday. It was a significant event because the people adopted the Governor General and his wife into their culture by recognizing the couple's marriage. This ceremony also added flavor to the first Girupang festival. Vasinatayama with the story.
Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai was received by the 3 disciplinary forces, Jiwaka Governor Dr. William Tongamp and other dignitaries. The head of state officially opened the Girupang Festival yesterday with hundreds of traditional singing groups showcasing their attires during the show opening.
Bringing Arab land or Arab country, all by visiting Yumi. Now I'm looking possibly belong here. No long hot blood through him and by bringing economic inside.
But before the show could start, the Girupang Festival Committee hosted Grand Chief Sir Bob Dadai's traditional marriage.
Lady Dadai Gamia, and passing place by walking. So money got to come looking, but talks about plan.
Lady Emmeline Folau Dadai was dressed in the traditional Jiwaka attire and was handed over to Sir Bob. Dadai also wore the Girupang headdress, which showed status in a community. He was officially adopted into the Segeka tribe of Warakar in North Wagi electorate. His forefathers were Lutheran missionaries who came and settled in that village before journeying to other places.
Passing blood church, little married finish. So passing custom, where me got people believe long and today we married inside long passing custom. We no belong Kabum, but inside long Sakaka tribe.
Governor Dr. William Tongamp and North Wagi MP Dr. Fabian Pork also witnessed the traditional ceremony. They urged the people of Juwaka to hold on to the good cultures and traditions that are slowly fading and do away with the bad ones.
Losoim culture that Islam must continue. Now you must learn how to walk in all pillow, how to walk in all belt, how to walk in all something wrong. Culture blow because I'm identity blow you me. Without this law something, Juwaka not working nothing.
The Girupeng festival will end on Sunday. Unlike other festivals and shows in the past, COVID-19 has huge impact to the less number of international tourists attending it. Basinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
And Trukai Sports is next. Kilawani is at the sports desk.
Thanks, Helen. We'll tell you more on the live telecast of the National Soccer League and a new venue selected for game fishing. Join me for the details in Trukai Sports after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Telecom is making it possible for EMTV to telecast the Kumul Petroleum National Soccer League matches in Port Moresby. Telecom PNG have signed an agreement with EMTV to ensure the live TV broadcast is on air without delay. Fidelis Tukena with this report.
Telecom PNG has come on board to help its subsidiary company, Media New Guinea Limited, EMTV, to telecast the Port Moresby matches of the Kumul Petroleum National Soccer League. The signing of the sponsorship agreement was done yesterday at the Telecom PNG head office in Port Moresby. Acting CEO of Telecom PNG, Amos Tepi, said they wanted EMTV to have this opportunity to provide live television telecasts of the Kumul Petroleum National Soccer League.
With the partnership with MTV as our subsidiary company, we want them to take the full right of broadcasting live soccer nationwide. So that is hence this is the reason why we are here to announce our sponsorship to NSL.
MTV has become the exclusive broadcaster of the semi-professional football competition. An acting CEO of MTV, Sheena Hughes, said the partnership will ensure the telecast reaches the 4 million plus viewers nationwide.
So in partnership with Telecom for being able to sponsor the event and give us the capabilities or the opportunity to be able to produce it live for the people of Papua New Guinea. So we're very happy. Our team are excited. It's been a while since we've done an outside broadcast. So the team are all revved up and ready to go. And I'm sure it's going to be a great couple of weekends of live soccer.
Telecom PNG has also this opportunity to have the matches on their Telecom IPTV service and are working to ensure that there is smooth coverage of this.
From the broadcasting aspects, we have our engineers that are working at the stadium, getting the fiber connectivity ready for the game. It'll be broadcasted through this medium, the fiber medium, and we should be ready by the time the game is ready to be kicked off.
With that in place, Telecom PNG will also have the opportunity to replay the matches for the IPTV customers as well.
Telecom has his own TV as well. Whatever they played live streaming, obviously replay will be done in the Telecom Plus TV. That will be probably every Saturdays and Sundays. And those people who miss out the live stream, they can also watch the replay through our TV Plus.
Felix Sugina, Trukai Sports.
After cancellation of the National Game Fishing Titles 2020, a new venue and time has been set for the event. As the announcement comes, local fishing competitions are reeling in interest to be part of this international event. The Port Moresby Game Fishing Association says the national titles will now be held in Rabaul next year. The 2020 national title was cancelled in April.
They made a decision to postpone it to 2021, so we're pleased to announce that it will be
held at Easter weekend 2021, hosted by the Rabaul Game Fishing Club.
Due to travel restrictions and other measures in place following the COVID-19 in Papua New Guinea, international anglers may struggle to enter the 2021 national titles. Focus will be on domestic anglers if restrictions continue.
We're hoping that by then the domestic travel restrictions have eased quite a bit, and we can all get around domestically and travel. So our friends from Madang and Lae and here in Moresby can all travel across to East New Britain and support them over there, and hopefully host a great national titles in 2021.
While PNG Game Fishing National title reels in interest from international participants, there is noted an increase in the interest domestically. Plans are underway for incorporation of local competitions.
Hopefully this year or sometime early next year we can host a local fishing event and we can teach them how we catch fish, marlin and stuff, and they can teach us how their traditional catch fish, bottom fishing, and we bring it all together to get a lot more people involved and hopefully a lot more sponsorship, and we bring a lot more, it sort of opens it all up to banana boats, to bigger boats, and we can swap it around. Some of us go on the banana boats, some of the other guys can come on the bigger boats, the big game fishing boats, and have their luck at trying to catch a marlin.
And still to come in Trukai Sports, Fairfax Volleyball resumes competition this weekend. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
And welcome back to Trukai Sports. The Fairfax Volleyball Association will recommence their competitions this weekend. While normal competitions resume, the association has bigger plans to spread the game and is also looking at partnerships with political leaders of Central Province. Fairfax Volleyball Association plans to host a NCD Governors Challenge Cup. The competition and launching is set for the 28th to the 30th August 2020.
NCD Governors Challenge Cup, which will be impacting next weekend. We'll be doing the launching as well, so we are hoping that we invite that governor will come to the launching and be able to officiate the opening of that particular event.
While the competition is set to run for 4 consecutive weekends, Fairfax Volleyball is currently in talks with the Governor for Central Province and local members with regards to their plans to reach the rural areas of Central Province through volleyball.
Looking at Fairfax going to the rural villages, and this time we are targeting Central Province. And so this year, beginning of this year, we'll be going down to some of the villages. Tubusera will be our first program. We have also planned and have discussed several discussions with our Governor for Central.
The 2019 national title holders in the men's division see that these plans are part of promoting and advancing the code, especially in Central Province.
Our plans in the way towards targeting Central Province in promoting and advertising volleyball in the Central Province, as well as giving leverage to the members.
In the meantime, the current president of PNG Volleyball Federation wishes to clarify that while he has announced plans to quit from volleyball administration, Kilodik is still the president of the federation until the 7th of November 2020, on which the annual general meeting will be held. And that ends Trukai Sports. Helen will be back with the weekend's weather forecast. Enjoy your weekend in sports. Good night.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Fine weather in Port Moresby, Daru, Kerema Alotau, and mostly fine in Popondetta. In the Mamasa region, mostly fine weather in Lae and Vanimore. Some drizzles, then fine weather in Medang, and cloudy with a shower or two in Wewak. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine weather in Lorengau, Kavieng and Buka. A shower or two, then fine morning in Kokopo and Rabaul, and mostly fine, partly cloudy in Kimbe. And in the Highlands region, evening rain showers and drizzles, then morning fog in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Tuabeg.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up tonight's bulletin. From all of us here at EMTV, pleasant viewing. Have a safe weekend. Good night.